We have a job to do here today, and our job is to rank these top 10 Switch games of all time. Now, my list could be completely different tomorrow. Completely different tomorrow. But today, I put together a list, and I did it in only a couple minutes, because whenever I make a list like this, I make it, like, fast. As fast as, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's almost like I don't want to overthink it, because I'm like, okay, what's my first favorite
fair.
game? What's my second? It's like when you're doing a test, right? Like multiple choice. I always did it fast because I didn't want to second guess myself, because that's how I get myself into trouble. So I did the same thing for this list.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I was kind of thinking about my list the last couple days since we talked about the topic, but today is when I solidified it. And I think, like, I don't think this list would change tomorrow. I just think, like, the order would change, just depending on how I feel. But
Yeah,
for the most part, this is, like, a pretty solid list for me.
I think that's more so what I mean too. Is that the order would change? Although, like, if I opened up my criteria, like, so I want to shout out like a game like Hades. I think is a top 10 Switch game for me. But I didn't put on my list just because of my criteria. And I would say Tunic would have had a real good shot at being a top 10 game for me as well. They're
Solid.
obviously like the classics that I've played a lot in my Switch. Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 12, Okami, Metroid Prime Remastered, Skyward Sword, even like Link's Awakening I didn't put on because I was like, like
Yeah.
so there's a lot of like exceptional games that just didn't make my list. And if I broadened up my criteria, they probably would have. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right, Al. The time is now. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we are going to start with number 10. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first, I think.
All right.
I feel like this is probably the most, I don't know if it's out there or people will roll their eyes and be like, that's not a Switch game. I don't care. I played it a lot on the Switch. I played it a lot on every console that I've gotten it on. And I'm sure they'll release it on the Switch too as well. And that is Skyrim. Skyrim is my number
Okay.
10 pick. I easily have about 300 hours on this on the Switch, and that's just from when it was released on the Switch. I'm not even going to talk about where I'm at on the PlayStation 3. I think I had it on. But this is just such a solid adventure. It holds up. It's a really good way of doing like an open world. I think we were having that discussion a few days ago as well, like what we want from open world story and video games, etc. I think they do such a good job. I think like its content is worth its money. I really like revisiting it. I think I would appreciate the next Elder Scrolls game to come out eventually, so that I can continue enjoying the series. But yeah,
That is
that's where I'm at.
astonishing, by the way. Like we are 13 years removed from
Yeah,
Skyrim. Like that is outrageous.
almost 14 because I'm pretty sure it came out in 2011.
It did,
Um,
yeah. Oh, and you're
yeah,
right. Actually, it came November 2000. Like that is outrageous.
it's insane. And we talk about the gap between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Hopefully, like the next Elder Scrolls game is so beyond different and incredible that it'll make the wait worth it. This is like Kingdom Hearts level wait from between 2 and 3. I can't even remember. Is it like 15 years between those two games?
You know what? I want to say Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in like 2005 or 6 or something like that. Um, when did Kingdom Hearts 3 come out? Like maybe like 5 years ago?
Like a few years ago, yeah. I want to say it was about 15 years in between.
I want to say that's a shorter time period than Skyrim is going to be for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yikes.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyways,
no dice.
that's number 10 on my list. And again, I feel like people might think that's goofy because it's definitely not a Switch game, but it was to me. So,
Okay, and I feel like that's fair. I love Skyrim just as much as the next person there. Paved the way in a lot of ways for Breath of the Wild, so you got to give
mhm.
it a little bit of respect on its name there. Um, I did not have Skyrim on my list, but what I did have in the number 10 spot, and I struggled a little bit with this one actually because it's one of my most played Switch games. I think it's like my third or fourth most played Switch game, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is my
Mhm.
number 10 game.
Fair.
I really love the Spirit Board. Actually, I kind of rolled my eyes at that gimmick when they rolled it out, but I think it's really fun actually, and I think that kind of like addicting in a way where you're my cat is walking destroying
Zora
things
again.
behind me. As you know what, let me go get the cat. Cover for me while I do this, Al.
I wouldn't put Smash Bros. Ultimate on my list just because I haven't played it as much as it probably should be played. It's
Oh
definitely
yes,
my
say hi.
least played Smash Bros. Game, but I understand why it would go on a top 10 list of Switch games. I totally get that.
Yeah. Um, so I kind of struggled with it because like for me, like Ultimate is borderline too much, like it's borderline too much where it's just like there's so many characters there that I was and characters I'm not like super into, but I love like the reveal of new characters. I love that, like who's it gonna be, like when's it gonna be revealed. So like I do love that, and I thought the gameplay was fantastic. There was a few things about it that I didn't like as much as like Melee or Brawl in terms of like combat and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
it seems like you have to pick like a rule set every time you just want to have like a regular Smash match or something like that. So that was something that I was just kind of like, but I mean, beyond that, it is really like in a lot of ways the perfect Super Smash Bros. Game. It doesn't quite have like the same feel as Brawl or Melee for me, and that's probably just because of where I am in my life. Like when I was younger, I played
Hmm.
so much of those games, like with my roommates and stuff like that. Whereas now, like I do the like the Spirit Board, and that was kind of it. Like I haven't played a lot of it or as much of it like multiplayer. Like we did a little bit of Smash at the Omega Metroid Marathon, and we were playing online, and that was a lot of fun. So it's probably just that I haven't done it yet, but I do think one other thing that holds back just a touch for me is the lack of like new stages, because I think
Hmm.
there's only like a handful of new stages that show up in the game. But I mean, in so many ways, it is the best Super Smash Bros. Game ever made, and just like an incredible achievement for Nintendo and all these other companies, because like you've got pretty much every single big video game name ever.
Hmm.
Sans a couple like that are in this game. So yeah, Ultimate is my number 10 spot, and it felt a little bit weird not ranking it higher actually.
I mean, I get it. I'm kind of like you where I played a lot of Melee, but I don't play a lot of Ultimate. I think I played the Spirit Board a bit. I want to say about 10 hours when it first came out, and I thought it was really fun. Um I it's kind of one of those things too where like Ultimate is like the Mario Kart 8 of the that series. It's just like how do you top it? How do you continue? Like
Yeah.
are they even going to continue? I just feel like there might not be a point. And I felt that way about Mario Kart 8 for the longest time. And that actually would have been number 10 on my list if you didn't let me have Skyrim Mario Kart 8. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it makes sense that these are top 10 greatest all-time Switch games, but it's also like, where do we go from here? Is there even any
Yeah.
continuing?
Yeah, a little bit. And I mean, like I don't think it's hard. Like I get what you're saying, and like I almost feel the same way, but like I just think you keep on going. Like you keep on making new stages, you keep on making new modes, you keep on adding new characters. I'd be fine actually for the next Smash game to like take some characters away. Like the
Hmm.
roster is certainly bloated. Like you don't need to have like a Lucina, or you don't need to have a Daisy, or you don't need to have a Dr. Mario, right? Like
Hmm.
a lot of those characters I feel like it, and even like clones like Ganondorf or like Falco, like I think like it's kind of at the point where it's like if you don't have a unique move set to offer, like do you need to be in the game?
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it, and I think that what we're gonna see now from Smash is like I think what you have to do is like something a little bit more like story based, like Subspace Emissary or even like World of Light, like in Smash Ultimate. So I think that's where it'll go. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, it's number 10 on the list for today.
Very good. I like it.
All right, number 9. What do we got?
All right, number 9. This game I'm pretty sure came out on PC first, and it's actually like a pretty broken game, but I don't care. My Time at Portia
Oh yeah, here
is
we go.
I, Andy knows there's like 5 cozy games on my list. I don't care. I This game is so broken, but I love that it's like the humble beginning of this series, and I love watching the series grow because they took what they learned from Portia, all their gimmicks and all the technical issues that they were having. They listened to their fans and they took all that feedback, and then they made Sandrock. And Sandrock was such an incredible improvement. And I can already tell that Evershine is going to be just even better. And I played this game easily like 4 or 5 times all the way through the story. It's pretty thick story. I think that the lore is really interesting and fun. Even like it's surprisingly dark for such a bright, colorful, building simulator game. The characters are amazing, the story is amazing, and like I said, they just continue to grow off of this series, and I think it's a really good beginning for this series.
Okay. I no comment because I haven't played it, but you know what? By God, I'm glad that you have this game, and I'm sure it's sequel on the list, which we'll talk about. Number 9. I think that you might have my number 9 pick as well on your list. And I don't know if you do. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you just want to save it? Let's just save it for when you get there.
Okay.
My number 9 pick was Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Okay.
And for a couple of reasons, actually, like. I feel like this game is like the definition of don't judge a book by its cover, because I think like we all thought when like the first trailer came out, right? And listen, I'm not like a tech guy. I don't care about frames per second, gigaflops per minute, whatever, right? But like I could tell like when this game came out, I was like, ooh, this looks rough. It looks like it needs a little bit more time in the oven, and it kind of did. Like, it kind of ended up looking like that in a way. Like, the game wasn't the prettiest game. It wasn't the most dazzling game, but it was really fun. I thought it was a really fun way to play Pokemon. And it kind of took the improvements that I liked about Sword and Shield, which I almost put on my list instead of Arceus. But it kind of took those improvements and took up to the next level. So I really loved the open world kind of style. I like the new way of catching Pokemon. I haven't played Pokemon Violet and Scarlet yet, so maybe that would have been a more apt game to put on my list. But I kind of just liked the I shouldn't say the coat of fresh paint, because I mean the paint, as we discussed, wasn't great, but like just the new battle system, I thought it was really fresh and kind of a classic example of like, a game just needs to be fun. It doesn't need to look the prettiest. Like, it just needs to be fun. And say what you will, but like, this game was fun. Like, really fun. And there was a lot of cool like regional variants too, which I thought was awesome.
I agree with you, which is why I put it at number 8 on my list.
There you go.
So
Perfect.
I might as well just segue into talking about it.
Yeah, perfect.
I loved Arceus. I went into it completely dark. I didn't even see the trailer or anything. I just remember you talking about it, and I was like, oh, do you think that looks interesting? And you're like, yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And so I went into it, and it was so fun. It was so different. Obviously it was collecting Pokemon, but instead of like, your Pokédex and having exclusives and all that kind of stuff, you could complete this Pokédex on your own, and it was all based on research.
Good call.
And that was so awesome. I'm so excited about that coming up for the next Legends game, which, by the way, did you see the footage for that the other day when they released it?
Only a little bit, and I was really bothered by something. I was really bothered by the fact that, so of your 3 starters, 2 of them are from the same generation.
Yes! I was bothered too!
I was like...
Makes no sense.
I was like, this is not right. It's not right, and you need to fix this.
Oh my God, I was also so chuffed by that. Like, I remember I was watching it with Nico on his stream, and I was like, why'd they do that? And he's like, I don't know. Right? I don't know if I care. And I was just like, I just think it's so dumb. They had Cyndaquil in Legends Arceus, and in ZA, they have Chikorita and Totodile. And I'm just like, why not get a different starter from it? And especially because the Gen 2 starters are the worst ones. Oh, I don't know if I would go that far, but like I think I'll choose Typig just out of spite. Like that's how I'm gonna go. I think you know what? Is it Umbroar or Umroar? Something like that.
Embor.
The final evolution is pretty cool.
Embor is kind of tough. I think he's kind of lame, to be honest.
I like fire types and I like fighting types, so it's a firefighting type. I'm down for that.
He does kind of look like Ganondorf a little bit.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I like pigs. I love pigs. So anyways, moving back to Arceus, that was such a solid entry into the Pokemon universe. I'm going to at some point get back into it because mentioned on the show a few times, I've been shiny hunting for my shiny living deck since like October, and there's only exclusive Pokemon in Arceus that I can only get there. So I will go back into it at some point to hunt there. So it's a really good game.
Okay. So that was your number 8.
Yes.
So my number 8 is going to be Luigi's Mansion 3. One of the best looking games that Nintendo has ever made, by the way. This game is gorgeous. Like, it is phenomenal. Like, I'd probably say you have Metroid Prime Remastered as maybe the top. Luigi's Mansion 3 is just under it. It looks phenomenal. This game is phenomenal. It's so much fun. It's just like a great, like, fun, spooky adventure that, like, you can, like, people of all ages can enjoy it. I love the Luigi's Mansion gimmick. Like, I love sucking up the ghosts and, like, the gameplay and that kind of loop. Luigi's Mansion 3, I think, is, like, the best of them by far. So it takes you into this, like, big, giant hotel. There's lots of scary hijinks, lots of fun ghosts, like, lots of cool, like, little creepy locations that you can go to. The game looks phenomenal. It runs phenomenal. There's even, like, fun multiplayer that you could do. It's an exceptional game. You should play Luigi's Mansion.
I mean, yeah, I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it. But I mean, I feel like that's high praise, and maybe someday I will.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Compatible, so I mean, maybe someday I'll play it on the Switch too.
I think for me, like, I never knew how much of a fan I was of Luigi's Mansion until I played, like, the second Luigi's Mansion on 3DS. Because, like, I remember playing the first one when it originally came out of the GameCube, like, way back when, Al, back in 2002 when I got my GameCube. 2001 actually, my god.
I was gonna say, I think mine was 2002 or 2003.
I think I got mine in Christmas 2001, which shows you how old I am.
Mine. Yep.
And Luigi's Mansion was really fun. It was a really short game, so I was always kind of like, like it was fun, but it didn't make a lasting impression on me. Whereas Dark Moon, Luigi's Mansion 2, I thought was so awesome, and, like, Luigi's Mansion 3 was just, like, the next level. Like, I can't wait for the next Luigi's Mansion game. Like, there's a lot I could say, but I mean, really, it's just like the games are just, like, really fun, and that's really all that I need to say. It's just like they are just, like, incredibly fun to play. It's fun to suck up the ghosts. I love Luigi. He's just, like, he's kind of a geek in the games, you know. Like, it's very charming. You know what? This is, like, my definition of a cozy game, I think.
Hey, that's fair. I've heard that about that game, that people consider it cozy. I think, like, kind of going back to our talk on Nintendo Land, if you still haven't played the Luigi's Mansion game, I think you would really enjoy it. I think you should play it. If you feel like busting it out now that you're done with the marathon.
You know what? By the way, you know who was just like, oh, Battle Quest is awesome. What are you guys talking about?
Corey Richmond.
I saw that. I was like, of course. So, you know what? Go to hell, Corey. All right.
I feel like at the marathon too, I feel like Locke is always fighting for Battle Quest to be part of the marathon.
Battle Quest sucks. It does. It does. That gives me no pleasure to say. It really doesn't. But I mean, like, we have to be honest, okay? We have to be honest, and we have to admit that Battle Quest, it kind of sucks. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.